There's a lot of stuff going on, as you guys know, in December. Christmas being the biggest one of them all. I'm sure everyone's shuffling and scattered about doing your various Christmas things. And that's what makes it such a fun time of year. The key word for this weekend is figure interaction. Now, who knows what that means? I have talked about it before in different live streams. And it's I'm going to explain to you what it is, why if you can do it, you're going to ace the other artists that don't know how to do it. I'll give examples, and then I'll actually go into ink one example from one of Jack Kirby's books. Jack Kirby being the master of figure interaction. That's what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to show you a few examples here of what I consider a really good figure interaction. This is from my files right here. The first great one right here of figure interaction. Okay, so I had something from Thor going on here. I actually had to color code it to see exactly how these figures worked, because it's like a big rumbling, twirling mess of figures. But it's this kind of thing that makes your work superior. All the things going on are not separated by this and that. It's combined. All the limbs are interacting with each other. They're going over each other and under each other, and hands are doing this. And it's all taking place within a split second, because it's a very startling fight scene here. So that's figure interaction right there. And there's nobody better at it than Kirby. The one right here I wanted to show you is from, I think all you hardcores know where it's from, Demon Number 1. And it shows a very bizarre way of showing somebody flipping somebody. And it's so wild. I've looked at that for my entire life, and I just wonder in awe over the idea that he could take something that anyone else would have done in a normal kind of a way, kind of a subdued way, and turns it into this wacky thing like this. But I just love it. And when I'm doing my pages and I have a sense that I'm not pushing it far enough, this is the kind of stuff I have to think about. It's going to put my work at a different level, hopefully, than what an ordinary person might think to do. Here's another one right here. This is Kirby. It's from Commandy, one of the later issues. Now there's a flip going on there. And you can see from the screen that we don't even show the guy's head. It's just kind of up there, you know. Everything's inferred. And a lot of times you don't need to have the head in there. You just got to show the overall motion of the body in motion. Look at this right here. I mean, that guy's going to hurt. I got a couple more right here. This one is from Spider-Man right here. This is a John Romita page. And you can see from your screen, excellent figure interaction right here. This is what makes things seem real to me. When you're involved in a skirmish, you know, you're trying to get the upper hand than the guy that's challenging you. And things are going to get interwoven sometimes. In any case, it looks fantastic. Romita does a great job here of these thugs trying to get Spider-Man in an arm lock of some kind. And he's still trying. But, you know, and just look at the foreshortening of this right here. It's just great. So they hit him, but he's Spider-Man. And he whacks them right back, because they deserve it. The last thing I'm going to show before I do my own demo is this page from, I think it's Commandy number 8. And this is figure interaction at its absolute best. This is what Kirby excels at. And what I don't get is, like, Kirby's got 50 years of examples to learn from. It's all in his books. So where are the people that are trying to get this figured out and apply it in their own work? I don't see it. But this right here, in all its simplicity, comes out of the brain of Jack Kirby. He just thought differently. He was a street fighter as a young kid. And even the dialogue here I love is, "Yow, he's lifted me off the ground. And I'm putting you down again, hard." Now the sound effect helps, and the fact that he knows how to scatter these bricks and rocks that are around him. This makes it hurt harder when you think about what this guy is going through. I just loved it, that pose there. Here's another thing from Commandy. It's not a page with any any actual interaction, but I like the fact that it's paced right. The last panel is what I've always kind of identified with. It didn't have to be in the page, but it is there, and because it's a little moment of storytelling and slowing the pace down. Everyone knows this. You have to know how to pace stories. High point, rest point. High point, and then you kind of do this thing where you think about everything that's gone on so far to keep people that tune in later on up to date. So Commandy's going to be on his own right here. The lion right here is been a great help to him. And he says, "This is where we part, Commandy. I'll leave my weapon and my ammo belt with you," because he's going to need it. But still a very nice gesture. This is how Kirby sets up the danger factor here. The wilds here are dangerous, Commandy, and you'll have to face, but you'll have a chance for freedom here. He goes, "Thank you so much. I'll never forget you. Goodbye, Commandy. Just be wary of looters." So we're kind of forecasting something that's probably going to be coming up here. There may be a few in this area. And here's the panel I just love the most. It's a quiet panel. It's a silent panel. Because Kirby knows how to tell brilliant stories, it's a very small figure where he just pauses and thinks before he goes on to the next thing he's going to be doing. Soon Sultan is gone and Commandy stands in the silence. As the sunlight begins to fade, once more, he is alone. I find it so powerful, and with the way my mind thinks about stuff, I identify with this a lot. You guys remember this right here? This is what I did as a kind of a sketch or underdrawing that shows me what I'm going for here. So I'm going to set this up next to this right here. And I'm going to just using markers. I'm going to come in here and do the two panels that I think are great. Try to always remember to see the basic forms here. There's no such thing as a drawing that can't find a basic form in the complexity somewhere. I've taken the greatest Leonardos and the Rubens and all this kind of stuff, and I've made their figures like this right here. This is really simple. So with the sketch out of the way, or rather this sketch being here, I'm going to show you how I would finish this right here. Kirby's hands were so expressive, and they weren't real hands, but they came across as real as how anyone would have done them. So I'm going to scatter myself around to this area and that area, just because it's kind of the way I think about stuff. Round. This is a round. This guy is really big, and this thing, the way it stretches over like that, I just love it. When I first saw this panel, I just I couldn't contain my excitement, and I still can't. Who wants to contain their excitement anyway? I'm just keeping Kirby anatomy here the way he tended to do it back in the early 70s. So here comes the boot, the big boot of the bear here. Once you've got things worked out in the pencil stage, you're obviously going to be going to something beyond a pencil stage. And the only reason this stuff ever came about is because pencils didn't reproduce in papers right, in comic strips or comic books, so they had to put a really dense, dark line around the characters here, so we could see what's going on without having to fuss too much and figure out what's going on here. This is Kirby's gift to everyone here. Oh, that doesn't look good at all. There's always room for improvement. So now it's just a matter of how do you twisting the anatomy to see how he got in this pose in the first place. So there's that part of it. Now we're going to move around to this one. Hopefully I can do a better head over here. When you're doing hands like this, and believe it or not, Kirby was far better at this than you may think. He thought in the round, and the fingers curling around this bear right here, and it's kind of a full Nelson kind of a move. It's just incredible to me. Here's the shoulders, here's the rocks obscuring part of the figure, and it's very important to have these things in there because without them, it doesn't seem like he's actually being driven into the ground. This is a bear, so we'll give him bear ears. And we can add all the line work in there later on, but for right now, this arm actually goes is actually hidden, isn't it? It's really funny because these so-called very simple things are simple in theory. Yes, Kirby thought in the round. When you go back and look at his work from pretty much any period, you'll see that the way this guy, he understood fundamentals as good as anyone out there. And that's the crazy part. Because people looking at just his mannerisms wouldn't necessarily think to look for that. There's the buttocks. And here's the figure interaction going on here. The bear is really getting his share of comeuppance here. So I break all these things down here all the time. This is how I figure out what I'm doing, what it's supposed to look like, and at the same time keeping these planes alive and in perspective. This is obviously part of his uniform here, these big sleeves here. They're not sleeves, they're part of the armor that this guy has on. And so we add the things, the little things like this to show that he's buried in a rock pile. The rocks are flying everywhere. And this all translates into a sense of incredible movement and power. That's a cast shadow right there. And this is a underplane. And we got to get his leg in there. And this is all part of the incredible ingenuity of someone like Kirby. And that's why we talk about him all the time. All the time. So that's essentially how it goes there. You know, you guys can use your mind's eye to fill that in. The other thing I want you to remember is from here, everything starts out like this. And I drew through everything to show you that there's an entire body behind the interaction of the figures here. The mannequin, learning how to do the mannequin first. Kirby didn't use the mannequin, he thought the mannequin. He thought about the basic forms when he drew everything. He had to conceive of the idea of how this arm would stretch and how this would grab the other part of the leg, and how he'd be really bowing back the bear. Most people do not have this gift, but the fact that he's done it for us and shown us how far you can go with this is evidence enough to show you that you can probably do it too. So mannequins, renderings. Is that all what we have for today? It sounds like it is. Last thing I didn't show you here is I'm always working on my oil painting. And this is a sunbloom copy that I'll eventually finish up. And I'm doing this for my little girl, Jessica. Jessica wanted to learn how to do oil paint. So I'm showing her how she does it. It's funny because last week I was doing it and getting carried away and having a good time. And she goes, "Dad, let me do some of it." I'm getting all fired up. So it's a good sign when somebody says that. They're probably going to go far in life. But from all this right here, everything will be refined. And the only thing really refined in this so far is a sense of it is the dress. And that's still got there's still a lot of things that can be added to that. Christmas is coming up fast. December goes fast. My life is going by so fast. It's hard to account for. But in the meantime, I'm producing a lot of stuff, and I love my comic book work, and that is my life. So I'm a very lucky guy. I want you guys hopefully to have that feeling sometime in the future, if not having it right now. So take care, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.